Unsolicited genius.
Greetings, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Conversations with Carlton, a Unsolicited Genius production. I am joined today by two amazing individuals, Richard Barthel, Bryan Ruiz. I know them in the world of boxing. I'm a member of Title Boxing here in Austin. Bryan signed me up and over the years has coached and trained me up. And when he abandoned me to go on a brief hiatus, Richard picked up where they left off. So in essence, these are my two boxing trainers. But in addition to being boxing trainers, for me, they do it for the masses, and they are two great humans, great human beings who I think do great work for our community. That being said, I give you an opportunity.
No, thank you for inviting us.
No, thank y'all for joining, for sure. So I'll start with you, Bryan. I gave, my introduction in terms of how we first encountered each other. There is a video of us floating around out there, me working on the ones and twos. But
yes, sir.
Share with our audience a little bit more about yourself, including what is your life's craft.
So pretty much, I started off, boxing when I was a kid, watching my uncle. He was a professional fighter out of Mexico. So, seeing my dad's brothers being in any type of sport, but I just picked up, my uncle being a boxer while I was a kid. I said, you know what, maybe that's something I would do in the future. But as growing up in West Texas, sports is a big thing there. And I saw how the community is in El Paso, Texas, about being in a particular sport. Makes you, unite and makes you feel special and becoming part of something. And I choose boxing and many other sports as well, just to kind of get me going through school and get me going through my life. Because, I think it's important to be in sports as you get older. It just kind of shows you how to socialize with people throughout your journey as, growing up and becoming a human being. But being a boxing coach now, I gave up the gloves, all that stuff. Now I'm just showing my craft to people. I've always wanted to share my knowledge to others, and that's what I'm doing right now. That's the main thing why I do it. I love what I do, and I think it's important for people to do and to do something that they love. Because if not, sometimes my life might be tough at times, but it's better to do things that you want to do, because otherwise you'll be positive every day and you'll be able to succeed on whatever goals you want to do. And if you could be in a positive mindset and doing things that you want to do, I think it's important in life to not give up at times. But that's most of the reason why I became into the coaching side, because as far as being an athlete, it is hard to become a coach. You have to be on top of everybody, making sure they're doing it right and making sure that, they listen and they understand the sport that you're teaching, and which is, me and Richard, we teach boxing right now. So this is one of the sports that I fell in love with, and, and seeing the results, like you typically, you start off at title, and then, you just kept on coming, and then look at those in the 1 to 2 with the midweight, which I still have that video, by the way, us killing it in the midweight. So, but as far as anything, that's what I do. I like to share my knowledge to people. That's one of the things that I normally do full time, is being a coach. I do have other things that I do as well. I'm into real estate as well. So, but it's like yourself, you try to help out people and try to spread the knowledge out. That's mostly what I do. As far as why I became a coach, is to see people progress in life and, and change your life. Because, boxing is a great sport to learn. and to succeed, because it's hard to understand it at first, but once you get it down, it becomes easy. As far as like learning the punches and stuff like that. But I mean, you get better as you come, because you could start off 1 year rusty. The second year, you get a little bit better. Next, thing you know, your boxing technique is getting better as you progress. And like Denzel Washington said, you got to be consistent in anything that you do. It's a journey, but you want to be consistent at everything. So,
all right, cool. And we'll definitely dive into more of your boxing philosophy and what have you later in the show. So thank you for sharing that.
No, I appreciate it.
Richard, what is up, my
Yeah.
dude? So same question to you. What is your life's craft?
Hey, thank you for having me, Carlton. And it's a pleasure, by the way. And now I take the mic, so I wanted to say that. Man, that's the first question, but it's a hard question because for so many reasons, I started boxing more than 20 years ago, and for like different reasons. And I had no idea that today I will like still doing it, first of all. And for different reasons, because I started boxing for the wrong reason, because I wanted to learn how to fight. I wanted to learn how to defend myself. I had anger problem issues, and the more you experience boxing, I realized that boxing is nothing about that at all. It's not about anger. It's not about being mad or beat up people in the streets or stuff like that. But I learned that after many years, not by the way, and it helps me so much. Like Bryan said, in life, to be structured, to have discipline, because I wasn't doing well. I was all over the place, and that's kind of the only thing that kept me on track at the time. And, years after years, I learned more about myself because of boxing, and I become another person, a better person, and I want to use that to help people the way boxing helped me, but in an easier way. For example, let's say to give shortcuts and to be the person I needed at the time and I didn't have, and to make it like easier for people to understand what I made in 20 years to understand, if it makes sense with my English. I just want to help anyone who wants to get better at the sports to understand it, and to understand that it's a science behind boxing. It's not a sport like another sport. It's really particular. It has you need a team behind you, but it's a lonely sport. You by yourself with your thought, and if you're not surrounded by the right people around you, it won't help you. So like it's all the science behind that keep me up basically and push me to keep training at my age.
That's awesome. For me, my father was a boxing fan, so he, as a kid, would watch Sugar Ray. That was his favorite fighter at the time. I grew to become a Mike Tyson fan.
Yeah.
But participating in the sport has been, you know, the word that comes to mind is lifesaver, because I grew up an athlete, played football, played other things, but you know, athleticism being what it is, that wasn't something that I could do Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, you know, on a recurring basis. Football is in the past. And so boxing allows me to still challenge the athlete in me, allows me to work through whatever is going on in my mind, but also work my heart, keep me active, keep me going, keep my muscles engaged in doing stuff, keep that cardio rhythm up, keep my lungs strong. So if not for boxing at this stage in my life, I have no idea what my fitness regimen would be, because there's a lot of things that are options, but I don't enjoy them the same. So I appreciate the world of boxing. I appreciate title, but in particular you two, because you are great at what you do. So
thank you, sir.
A little bit. We're gonna
thank you.
You all are athletes, but like me, we are citizens of the planet. Your fathers, your husbands, your friends, your sons, you know, you love people, people love you. And so in recognizing that our society is complex today, or the complexities that exist in our society today, I wanted to, you know, get you all's perspective, being that you, Richard, are from France. You can share some more about, you know, how long you've been in the States, you know, what the contrast is. You, Bryan, you're born in the States in El Paso, Texas, but you have tight ties to Mexico. You're tight with your family. You have deep, rich Mexican culture, heritage that's a full part of your experience. So, you know, not playing politics left or right, but what I really wanted to get your perspective on is the American dream. You know, so many of our immigrants, whether modern day or historical, come to United States because of that dream. A dream of prosperity, a dream of health, a dream of wealth, a dream of being able to expose your children, your family to all that exists in the world. So to know the complexities, to know politics, to know the drama, from your perspectives, is the American dream still alive? And I will start with you, Rich.
It all depends what you call the American dream.
Okay.
Because well, to be honest, as you know, I'm from Europe. I moved to the US like about 10 years ago with my wife now. We met in France, and she's from Houston. So she's from the US, but she grew up with the European culture. Her family is from a little bit everywhere. Jakarta, Indonesia, Africa, like it's a big mix. And long story short, we met in France, and I wasn't like doing well, I thought, at the time. And we get that connection, you know. She helped me on many ways, like mentally and stuff, that at some point she needed to move back to the US. So because her visa expired and everything, and she needed to go back to the US. And me, that wasn't my plan, to be honest with you. I was over there, I wasn't doing great, but I had no plan to move. I didn't speak English, I had no money. I'm doing like what I can to survive, you know. I was like sleeping on my cousin couch in miles from my job. That was a headache. And then I met her, and she has to move right away. And I'm like, no, I can't let you go. Like, it's stuff are getting better for me. So I took a bag, I got two bags, a backpack, another bag, and I just left, man. I left like this. We took two tickets, and everybody around me was like, "Why you moving there? You don't speak English. You have no degree. I never been to school too long. I'm pretty much self-made." Everybody was like telling me to not go, basically, and I still did. I moved. It was tough. It was hard. I was like, no paperwork. I couldn't work. Was doing like a bunch of like delivery, cardboard box, moving shit, stuff like that, in basements of like shops, stores, whatever. And most of the time I was working with Mexicans. So I didn't speak English. The guy over there, he speaks Spanish, not me. we had to figure it out. And I get really close to them because, like the experience and the job we was doing at the time and stuff like that. So do you talk about American dream right away? No, it was pretty tough at first.
Huh.
But little by little, man, I get to get better jobs. I learn English pretty quickly. And then, little by little, everything went on the right track. And like, look at 10 years after, I'm here, I got two kids. So, in some ways, the end of story is good, but I don't think it's the American dream. Because you can go to Europe and make all of that and like find someone and get better at the language over there and find a job. But would you call that the European dream? No, you know what I mean? American dreams, maybe like they talk about from a day to another, you can make money, you can be big at something, and like I think it's possible because it's a money country. It's like easy to get cash going on. Like that's what I feel like. But I don't believe there is an American dreams.
Okay. Gonna transition to you, Bryan. So Rich said, not so much anymore, the American dream. Is it still real? Is it dead? It's not what it was, that's for sure. I think, to Richard's point, it takes me to globalization. We're one world, and I think there's pros and cons to the way we're evolving. But it's not just America that the dream it can exist. We can go to Canada, we can go to Europe, France. I got a lot of people that have gone to Portugal. So we got options. There's dreams and then there's options. So for you, Bryan, what is your perspective on the alive? Is the American dream still alive?
That was a great thing that, Richard said, I appreciate Richard doing all that hard work that he did just to get over here and, and starting a family. He was already married, but, coming here and, oh no, you got married here, right, Richard? You got married here and then started a family. And,
yes.
But
that's how everything,
it started. Yeah. So like, as far as Richard, I'm I could say 50-50. The reason why is because I'm a first generation American. So Richard's kids are first generation American because he's coming from a different country. So, my family, my mom and dad were born in Juarez, Mexico, which is Chihuahua. And I was born, I was able to be born here in the States in Texas. So I became the first generation American. Now, my parents tell me what they went through just to get here in the States. It's hard everywhere. America's one of those countries that it's really hard to succeed after you come from a different country. Because at times I believe the American dream was there a couple decades ago. As far as now, it's kind of fading. But me being an American and coming from a descendant from Mexico, I do see the difference between having the citizenship from Mexico that I go see my family out there. It's tough being and living out in Mexico. As far as trying to make an everyday life. It's who because there's a lot of politics in every country, right? But in Mexico, it's pretty bad when it comes to that. There's cartels, and there's all this stuff that's going on in Mexico that it makes headline news all the time. But as far as why my parents decided to come, it's one of the main reasons why Richard did, to kind of get out of the comfort zone. He goes, let me go and try it out. Richard did it because he wanted to follow his love of his life, and that's the same reason why my parents came out here. It was first my mom. My mom came to the States, and then my dad was like, he fell in love with her. He met her, got to know her. He goes, you know what? Let me go ahead and challenge myself and move to United States, to Texas. So, with love, he did that. And, he was able to start a family. He had to start from scratch. He had the ability to go to college in Mexico, but he only went for like a year or two, became an accountant. And he was starting off good. He was starting off basically trying to be like the middle class in Mexico, because he grew up. We could say he grew up being poor. They were living in the dirt. Him and his 11 siblings that he has. He was selling chicles and mazapans in the border, and he was doing all that stuff. As far as him and telling me stories of what he did for him to come here, for as far as, following my mom, but he did it to kind of better himself and try to fulfill that he could be able to give more to his future kids, which is us, of course, me and my siblings, and also like his grandkids, because he wanted to, he wanted to make sure that everybody had a good way of living and growing up and not go through what he did as part of, being from Mexico. So those are the reasons why I still believe that, we still have that American dream here, is because, there's a lot of opportunity here in the States. Now, like Richard said, you could do that in other countries. And, Europe is a lot different than Mexico. You could do it. Europe's kind of like the United States. You could have, jobs here, jobs there, be able to work here, make opportunity for yourself to make a living out there. But in Mexico, it's really hard to do that because as far as a politician wise, like the politics, everybody's, scared of working out there too, because, of all that cartel that's gone on to over the years. It's, how could I say, the opportunity of them to succeed is very little. That's why you notice a lot of people from like the southern countries like Honduras, Guatemala, Colombia, all them, they move to the States because they feel that when they come here to the United States, they could be able to, succeed, even though it's going to be hard for them since they don't know English, but they'll find a way to they either get the paperwork that they need to do, which is hard here, because I think the United States is one of the countries that's hard to become a citizen. In Mexico, you could become a citizen right away. That's what my parents have always told me, that it's not hard to become a citizen in Mexico. But here in the States, it took them a while to get you know, become a citizen. You know, my dad became a citizen because of my mom. My mom's dad was born in the States, but he moved to Mexico growing up because of World War II. So his dad didn't want them to be part of it. So he grabbed his stuff and moved the family back to Mexico. So they didn't want to, because the draft came out at that time. So they moved back there. So my grandpa and that's how he met my grandma out in Mexico in Camargo. That's the name of the city. That's where they met. He was still from the United States, but he didn't want to be part of the stuff that was happening at that time. So he raised his family in Mexico and then moved his way back to the United States. And as far as my mom, that's how she got the paperwork done, because he was able to get the paperwork done because of my grandpa being from here. So of course my dad was born and raised in Mexico, met my mom. They both moved over here, or first my mom did, and then he did. And then, as far as us, living through it, I understand what they went through, and I make sure that I fulfill that dream for my parents, because I'm living through that right now, because he did all this hard work for us to be able to live comfortable like how I am now. Because I do see my cousins from Mexico. They do live, they don't live like I do. It's hard for them to succeed at times. They have their families and stuff, but for me and my siblings, like we pretty much had it easy, man. Like honestly, we go to school here. Education was good at times. Education's kind of going down now in America, but all this stuff going on in the news, and things after COVID going, and American dream is not how it was back in the 90s, like how we were explained, like how you're supposed to do things as far as succeeding in the United States. Because I mean, it's getting harder now as far as it can, being a parent, right, Richard? Like, being a parent, everything's expensive, But that's a great question though. Like that's hard to like, kind of bring up in a talk show. So it's like
the reason the reason I ask is because the two of you have, the cultures that you come from. Yours, Bryan, more close to the U.S. Yours, Richard, it started in Europe. And I know my father, he's from Guyana, South America, that side of my family. So he was the first in his family to come over in pursuit of that dream. And I think, to both your points, semblances of the dream exist, especially when we look at the quality of lifestyle, maybe that is available to us in comparison to some other countries.
Exactly.
But the ability to get to it, the path from point A to point B has shifted over the last several decades. And I think, to your point, Bryan, the confusion that exists as a result of our politics, just how do we conduct ourselves as citizens in conjunction with each other, because we're a community. We you sell, I buy, I sell, somebody else buy. It's a cycle, all connected. But our ability to do that smoothly and effectively has definitely been impacted. A lot has changed with COVID. But all of us are revisiting how often we use eggs. And that just
you get to see how you get to see how much you use the eggs, and you look at the store and like, man, it was just $2 last week, now it's $3. Like, oh my god, that's a pretty quick changing off of it. But times have changed for sure.
Okay. All right, well, on that, we'll take a break and be right back with Conversations with Carlton. morning, good afternoon, and good night.
And it will be so sweet, America. It will be so sweet. And all that heartache will go.
You got to see the monster to be able to destroy the monster.
He took the military out before he took the civilians. Who does that?
Under his watch.
Welcome back to Conversations with Carlton. What in the sports? All right, Bryan Rich, you all are boxers, trainers of boxers. What I love in working with both of you is you got different styles. I'm not expert enough to be able to name them, the style per se, but Bryan, you're more my Mike Tyson type movement. And Rich, you for me, you're more the Roy Jones Jr. in my of boxing styles. I could be, you all know what you do a lot better than me, but just in working with you all, that's what I play in my imagination. With Bryan, I'm being trained by Mike. With you, Rich, I'm being trained by Roy. That's how I play it. So that being said, boxing is your passion. Boxing is a key part of your life. So for the general audience, a few of our watchers, listeners, our boxing fans as well, but for the novice, what makes boxing such a great sport? And I'll start with you on this one, Bryan.
What makes it a great sport, it's the courage and the consistency that someone has to do in order to succeed in their fight. So it all starts in the training purposely, as far as, getting prepared for your fight. Now, a lot of sports are a team, right? So like, baseball, football, basketball, soccer, all these team sports, right? When you are a boxer, you're an MMA fighter, you're a kickboxer, Muay Thai, wrestlers, jiu-jitsu, it's just them, right? They're by themselves. The coach is training them, it's a mind game as well, but it's just you and the other person. And I think that's one thing that I believe in combat sports is the hardest thing you could do as far as preparing for your event or your fight, because it's just you and somebody else. And like preparation on doing that, make sure you're eating clean, your weight is going down, or you're not too low on your weight, your dehydration, you're not dehydrated. All those things come into along while you're training to get ready for your fight. Now, it's just a mind thing as far as preparing for like fighting, or you're preparing your fighters, or even if you're just training clients. I train my clients like I normally would train a fighter, like to get them ready for a fight. I want them to progress daily or weekly, so we could see like that I'm actually doing my job and paying attention to their ability of becoming better. So I have a lot of passion on that with my clients, and that's why they stick around, because that's why I post stuff, I put videos and stuff, because I want them to see themselves how they first started 2 months ago and like how they are now. Richard's more on the inside because he's training fighters. So right now I'm currently not training fighters, but in the future, most likely I will, just because, I think I bring out a lot of good stuff when I give my 2 cents to people that are training that title or other gyms. I give some feedback there. I really don't want to step in there when a coach is coaching their fighters. But as far as anything, boxing is such a great sport that's why I think it's one of the hardest sports out there to do, because of the preparing yourself mentally and physically, and you versus the other person. So I'll stop at that.
All right. What about you, Rich? What makes boxing such a great sport?
Many things. The technical aspects, and especially everybody have the same weapon. Everybody had 2 hands. That's it. What's gonna make you do better than someone else. It's the IQ, the way you understand the body weight transfer to get somewhere quicker than the other guy. Is just the challenge of it, like hit and not get hit back. I love to watch footwork, skilled boxers more than just like for blood. I don't watch boxing. It's like I will watch a MMA fight or just for blood and like putting someone down. It's the technical aspect that keep me here still 20 years after doing it again and still, yeah.
So, question, pop question, not quiz, but pop question. Who are your top 3 boxers? So, past, present, who are the 3 boxers that you have enjoyed watching their career? Rich, you got any?
Well, for me, I started boxing because of Mike Tyson.
Okay.
Back in the days. Actually, in 97, that's when I started boxing. But from 94, 95, 6, I was watching this guy, I was like, how it's possible, like, to be a monster like that, and fucked up people around. So, of course, Tyson has a place in my top, but because he's unique, but as like, I like Mayweather too. How the guy is so sleek, the way he moves. Like, I was showing my kids like not long ago, two days ago, when I was 60, all the drills and stuff, because for kids to understand, when I show him, like when I watch MMA and he sees like blood and stuff, he doesn't get it, he likes other sports. But the other day he asked me, what you like about boxing? Like, what's the goal? What's the purpose of it? And I was like, if I tell him to put someone down, it's it's part of the game, but that's not the number one thing, the skills, the footwork, as I say, the body weight transfer that I was showing Mayweather doing it. And he understood a little bit more the idea of the science of boxing, instead of, oh, you like boxing, you just like to fight, and that's it. It's not, boxing is not street fight at all. It's a lot of technical, physical. Actually, you need to have like even more feet than your hands sometimes. You got to be able like to keep throwing while moving around. It's almost like you're a dancer in that thing. You got to have a good rhythm. You got always like every level in your boxing journey restarts always to the first thing you learn the first day. You work on a jab, you work on the cross, you work on hooks, and it keeps going. Once you reach another level, you work with the jab again, you go back to the first thing. Then you work with the jab moving to the right, jab moving to left, moving back, moving forward. And then once you get that, you add the cross. And then when you do the full circle, you come back. And then you add like more like combos and drills, and you realize that there is no magical combos. It's bullshit. Like drills and combos, you can spend your day on YouTube trying to find the perfect combos ever to fuck up everybody on sparring day, but you won't find.
It doesn't work that
Because
way.
when you're in there, if you throw a combo, it's a good day for you, you know, because most likely it's a single punch, 1, 2, like 2, 3 punch maximum, but you got to use your legs. You got to have the great cardio. You have to have a great conditioning. You got to be able to face any type of boxers, like pressure fighter. What to do if you have someone like a dog, like running into you for like 3 minutes nonstop, and you can't even like throw even a single punch. You're gonna get fucked up. Man, that's one part of the thing. So you go back to the first day using your damn jab and try to work on the distance, because you like, what's the only thing I can do? Like when I got the dog on me, it's like you gotta keep throwing punch. You can't let them close the range on you. You can be overwhelmed or outboxed with someone else. You gotta be the guy to tell yourself, if you need to throw 3 punch every single second of the round, then that's what you gotta do to save your ass. Because otherwise, someone else is going to put the work and lock you in the corner, and it's over for you. But it depends on what you looking for. But it's really a mental sport.
Yeah. All right.
We can talk for hours.
You gave me 2. You got a third name. You said Tyson.
Yeah. See, I went too far. I like Dimitri Bivol. He's from Europe. He beat the last Canelo fights. The last fight Canelo had, I think that was against him, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, that was Caleb Plant.
No, Bivol. He's the one that beat Canelo.
Bivol Plant, yeah. So he's a Russian guy.
Bivol, right? Bivol, yeah, Bivol.
Bivol, yeah. And
he's a great fighter, man. And all he did,
he's a great.
And that fight, he just threw his 1-2s, bro, and he beat Canelo. Remember, the jab crowd.
Yeah, but because that fight, to me, he showed more than that, because he learned. I mean, he's from I think Kazakhstan, or I don't remember exactly where, but he has a great European style, Russian style, with his legs and the way he transfers weights, like more Olympic fighter, Russian boxers.
The style.
Yeah. But what impressed me last time against Canelo is the way he stick to his plan. He knew that Canelo would like try to snatch his body and put it down with that, and he like just didn't like show off any like crazy drills. He just was keeping his hands and elbows tight to his ribs and protect his body.
He showed them who the bigger man was too, because he's fighting at naturally 175, and this guy's coming up and weight. He goes, you can do that in my division. Make sure you earned it. And Canelo's game plan did not go well, and this guy, he fought a great fight, man. I give him so much props. I became a big fan of him ever since that. I was just like, man, this guy is a beast.
Yeah, because he had a great strategy, and that's what boxing is. Again, if you talk about that, because you gotta have a panel of different options to use against different guys. That's what he did, and he did really well on that, and that's what I like about these boxers. So that's it.
Yeah, so for the record, just so both of you know, you all are still teaching. because I'm learning from you as you all share your stories. So Bryan, who are your top three?
So talking about like teaching and as a fighter, you know, I'm Mexicano, right? We got to make sure we represent our country and like our fighters and stuff. My number one is Floyd Mayweather. The reason why is because as a fighter, when you prepare to fight somebody and you have a game plan, just like Richard said right now, he's been the only one that's been not figured out at how to beat. That's how great of a fighter this guy is. When I was a kid, Floyd Mayweather was coming up, and I was a big De La Hoya fan, and that's when that was a great fight that they had against each other, and it was still controversial of who won that fight. And of course, Mexican American, they're like, no, De La Hoya beat him. Mayweather's a boring fighter, and a lot of Mexicanos just like the attack and rush, the violent type of fighting. Growing up seeing that, they're booing at Mayweather, and then people will still buy his fight and watch him. And as I got into the boxing technique side, like what Richard's saying, I become a big fan of Floyd. I was just like, man, this guy is so hard to hit. Man, the whole point of boxing is not to get hit, right? The whole point of boxing is not to get hit. And and Floyd was just demolishing people. Like, he just figured him out. He was just using his jab. He was just way quicker. And I became a big fan of Floyd. Yeah, coming from, I'm Mexicano, coming from me saying that, but Mayweather's my all-time favorite fighter right now, just because, as far as having a game plan to try to defeat him, a lot of boxers will forget about the game plan, and they'll get so frustrated because you'll do that Philly shoulder, and because of that defensive movement, people were having a hard time and just trying to hit him. They get frustrated. You could tell right away by their face, right, Richard? When you could see the boxer trying to fight Floyd, they get so mad. They're like, man, I can't get this guy. The only guy that did give him a good fight, and I believe kind of figured out his strategy, was Maidana. Marcus Maidana was a guy from Argentina. I don't know if you guys ever saw that fight. They fought 2 times. Marcus Maidana, he was supposed to pick Amir Khan, but he picked Marcus Maidana, that he knew that he would give him a tougher fight. And then that's when I think something happened with the conversation with the gloves that Mayweather didn't want him to fight with, but Maidana still put some other gloves on, and he strapped him up, but he kept on throwing those WWE overhand punches. He's going on top, and Mayweather was able to figure him out. But other than that, the second fight, Mayweather demolished him at that time. Second fighter, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. The reason why is because as a kid, everybody will stand up, and when Julio Cesar Chavez will come out in the ring, if you're in El Paso, there's a lot of Hispanics out there, so everybody wear the bananas. They'll say Chavez Sr. in their head, and I had my poncho on, and I was just like screaming Julio, and it was a big impact in Mexico when he was winning all these fights in his career. He went, I think, 89-0. He was undefeated for a long time. So just I saw like the traditional of the Mexican boxing that was representing in America. I know he's the one that made it pretty big as far as like how boxers are in Mexico. I mean, I'm be mistaken, there might be other boxers that were great in past time as far as him, but I think he made it into another level as far as being from Mexico. Third fighter, I never really got to see Mike Tyson, because, I wasn't born yet. Well, I guess I wasn't born yet, but, Mike Tyson was a beast, though, like, as far as seeing his YouTube videos and, saying the way he would train and how he said that he broke his back and it was spinal, and, he was just a different monster, right? So not getting to see him in person in live, I wish I was able to, but seeing the results, he'll be my number 3. I know me and Richard kind of had the same, we picked kind of the same fighters, but my number 4 will be Canelo, just because he has progressed, and like who was the type of person that would, go up, because he started off at 135 and went all the way up to 175. Like, that's hard to do as a fighter. Like Manny Pacquiao did that. Floyd just stayed in the same division, but no one could beat him, so he's great at that. But like going up on weight and and figuring out how to beat people, it still takes a lot of discipline. And you're going into a different way. Even like if I end up sparring Richard like today, I weigh I weigh heavier than he is, but it would be a different disadvantage on my end because I'll be a lot slower because Richard's too fast for me. And as far as like trying to bull rush Richard, so that's what I would use. My strategy is just to go forward on Richard because I'm a bigger guy. So I'm just like, now this guy moves, he's gonna hit me like 3 times over here, and I'm just gonna be like, no, I didn't get keep the hands up. But those would be my, the main 3 fighters that I like. Richard said a lot of good things about like fighters and the understanding of boxing. But I mean, I could go on, like I said, I could go on to different types of fighters that I like. But my top 3 will be Floyd, Chavez Sr., and Mike Tyson will be my top 3, man. And I could throw in Canelo there because he's about to fight again, and he just, well, man, come on, Canelo, pick some guys that are worthy, man. I get so upset.
Yeah. We agree on 2 of the 3 for sure. Mayweather, my number 1. Mike Tyson. Rich and I are the same age. I learned that this year, so we got you by a little bit, Brian. So I've seen, Mike Tyson.
Who's your number 3?
My number 3, it evolves, right? Because at one point in time, it was Sugar Shane Mosley. I used to love to watch him fight for a thinner frame than say a Mike Tyson. But he had that punch. I think.
What you got Floyd? Remember in that second round when he hit Floyd, he stung him.
He gave him a stanky leg.
He's thinking he was gonna grab him.
He gave him a stanky leg. Roy Jones Jr. was fun for showmanship.
Yeah. Lennox Lewis was good too. I used to love him too.
You got Bernard Hopkins. That guy was great too. That guy just demolished people.
I like.
It's hard. It's hard to pick. Yeah.
That's a tough. That's a really tough question though. Like you ask us, who's your top 3 fighters? I'm just like, man, I should have just said this other guy because man, it's so many fighters. But everybody's awesome.
I like Shakur Stevenson.
He's big time.
He's great, man. That guy's great.
He gives me, everybody has that wall, that opponent that they might face. So I don't know what the future holds for him, but when I watch him fight, he has that similar defensive style of just not getting hit. But when I watch him, his eyes are always on his opponent. He's always looking for them to slip, and he rocks them. And to talk about combos, he may 1 and 2 them for a few minutes of each round, but there's always a moment where he's gonna get 4 good ones off. So I have my historical fighters, but I really, if he's on, I'm gonna make sure I get to see him.
If you could pick your top 3 current fighters, who would they be?
Oh yeah.
Like current fighters right now.
So Stevenson,
active.
I like Stevenson. I like Ennis. And
Dave,
I like
Annie.
I just watched Creed and Bud Crawford.
Crawford, yeah.
So, those are names. I know those are names I make sure I catch if they have
Tank Davis.
Yeah, Tank Davis. You got Errol Spence.
Caleb
Plant. You got Caleb Plant. You got the Charlo brothers. You got Benavides. You got
Tyson Fury.
But
what's your perspective on him?
I like Tyson Fury. I mean, he moves a lot for a heavyweight.
Yeah.
His movement that he does, I think that's what makes him great. I mean, he has a lot of power coming behind him too. But the thing about Tyson, I think he figured out his opponents. Like it's a puzzle and when you're sparring or when you're fighting somebody, it's a puzzle. You got to figure out your opponent regardless. Even with the ones and twos, the little three in there, you throw your lead uppercut. You just want to try to make sure what works for you that entire fight, which Richard was saying earlier. And it's just a big puzzle. So you need to figure out what's working for those couple of rounds. And sometimes, they get tired. If this is not working, you just got to stick to something else, back to square one. But I think that's what Tyson Fury does as far as he gets people frustrated because he's so tall as it is. He's almost like Shaquille O'Neal size. He's like 7, he's like, what, 6'8", 6'9"? How tall is he? He's like almost 7 foot.
Yeah, I think he's 7.
He knows how to use his range. He moves quick. His defense is great. And that's what, that's kind of what keeps you on top is by doing that. I mean, Wilder knocked him down, but man, Wilder hits hard. So like, that guy hits hard. I mean, have you seen him? And also too, wow, I give so much credit to Wilder because his boxing journey was short. He only started in his 20s. He didn't start fighting until, if he would have been a natural boxer that he did it like it was age 10, which most boxers do. He did it like in his 20s, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And look how big he became. But Tyson's good, bro. I mean, he's great. He's gonna be, I think, all time. He'll be a Hall of Famer in my book. Anthony Joshua is great too. But my boy Andy Ruiz, my cousin, knocked him down, and he went kind of downhill from there. But Andy Ruiz is great, for being heavy-set too. So I'm just like, he moves fast, right, Richard? Like, me and Richard talked about it too, like how fast Andy Ruiz moves for being that weight.
Yeah.
He has movement.
Yeah. Tyson Fury is 6'9", so he's
6'9", God, man, tall.
To watch his style, to go first of all to go up against Wilder and how hard, to your point, that he punches. And just to consistently just keep his movement going, stay focused with his strategy, and be able to step in the ring with that power and come out with the victory is a huge credit, I think, to just his boxing skill. So I look forward to just seeing Tyson Fury's career to continue to progress, because I don't know in my lifetime if I've seen somebody quite like him with as much, brain power, so to speak, included.
I mean, the closest to Tyson Fury will probably be like Muhammad Ali, because Muhammad Ali moved a lot too. Like he was able, and he talked crap to you the entire fight, right? But like he was getting in your head, right? And that was the strategy. That's a good strategy at times. You could tell Muhammad Ali was, he was talking to his fighters. He was like, "What's all you got? Come on, fly like a butterfly, sting like a bee." The things that he was saying was just like, oh, no. That's why Conor McGregor became so good. He started looking at Muhammad the way he would talk, and he's like, let me talk some smack too.
Ali's book. I mean, all that to say, I think we all can agree, for us, boxing is a beautiful sport. And I'm glad that I can share in it with you all. So on that, we'll transition to Are You Entertained? Get you out of here on, separate from boxing, just, what else goes on in your life. So as fathers, if you watch kid shows with your kids, that's fine too. But besides boxing, what are you watching right now, Rich?
You talk about kid stuff. I have one show in mind. It's a show that my kids love. It's called Larva. It's you know that show, Brian?
No, man, you got boys, man. I got 2 girls. We're the opposite, bro.
Yeah, Larva.
I'm being Princess of you.
I can't even explain to you. It's 2 larves, and they go nuts. You will watch it. You will laugh for hours.
Larva.
So that's Larva. But more seriously, I don't watch TV much. When I do watch a documentary, I like to watch boxing news, soccer news, about the sports, about life, about space. I like planets. I believe like we can't be alone in that shit, you know. You know. So like like small things like every day we stressing for small shits like people get mad. And then I was looking a video the other day about how small we are. And there is these videos on YouTube. You just write this down. How small are we? And you see the comparison between planets. And we like you think we big, but then you get like other sphere circumstance huge. It's so big that they count in lighting years, and it's out of our mind. You know, we always focus on small thing, and when you look up, it's supposed to be like trillions of galaxies like us, you know, upstairs. So yeah, I like this type of I'm a dreamer, man. You know, I like to yeah.
All right. What about you?
And
what are you watching?
Thought Richard was gonna say something. I don't want to. I'm listening to Richard.
No.
Richard was gonna say something. But
No. Go for it, brother.
I mean, I got two girls. You know, Richard got two boys, so it's a whole different. I mean, maybe I did hear about the lava thing, but I'm more watching The Little Mermaid and Frozen and Princess Sophia, like all these, princess stuff, man. So I'm just like getting my makeup done.
So who's your favorite princess then? Since you watch all of them, who's your favorite princess?
If I could pick my favorite princess, it'll probably be I don't know. I mean, they do watch Shrek, so I'll pick Princess Fiona, man.
She's tough. She's a tough.
Princess Fiona. If you watch Shrek, man, it's a classic.
Okay.
No, I mean, as far as other entertainment stuff, right now I have my daughter in soccer, so I'm trying to build her confidence up because I think it's important for kids to build their confidence, and I think being in sports does build it up, even besides going to school. If you put your kids in sports, I think it helps. It did help me out. I mean, I played football like you, Carlton. I mean, I did play professional baseball for a while. I forgot to say that, but I played it for 2 years. Rookie year I played that. But I've always had boxing passion, but that was the one that succeeded the most as far as anything. But those will be the entertainment. When I get home, I'm watching ESPN. I'm watching. I have the MLB package. I got it for free because of T-Mobile. So, I watch that. I buy the NFL ticket. The World Cup is on. I'm watching that. I mean, what was the World Cup just happened this past, in November, which is weird.
Yeah, normally
in the summer. Sorry, Richard. Argentina beat France this year, at least you guys make it to the championship. Mexico never hasn't even made it to the championship. So, it's like USA. I mean, if it was the girls, it's a different story. Girls are powerful here when it comes to soccer. But those will be the things that I normally do. I take my time to train people throughout the day, and then I still have to come and train my kids. I'm giving my oldest, which is 6. I'm kind of teaching her how to box, but she's still in that innocent. I mean, they're not like boys, man. Boys pick it up quick, man. They're so just like on the dot, and girls are just like, oh, I don't know, like I don't know how to do that, and just like they don't want to do it. But
you can't force them.
I can't force them. I'm just gonna keep on playing them in different sports, and I'm gonna put her in this summer. She'll be doing like slow pitch, coach pitch. I'm sorry. So she's pretty good at that, So she has a little in me as far as that. My little one, my 2-year-old. She's an aggressive one. She's like, she sees me hitting the bag and she's just like, boom, boom, nonstop. So I'm just like, oh, okay. I told my wife, she's going to be my fighter. My other one, my 6-year-old, she's really nice. This one's gonna be like me because like Richard said, he'll fight a lot. I mean, not if you, I don't know if he fought a lot, but me as when I was a kid, I was always the shortest guy, so I had to defend myself. I was just like, no, and I get picked on, I was get bullied. I was the one getting bullied until one time I headbutted a guy, boom, and then after that, they stop being bullies at you. And once you defend yourself, they're like calling my mom, and my mom just like, well, what happened? Well, this guy, he's been making fun of me all year, and I got tired of it. Dad said to throw a punch, but but like what Richard was saying, like as far as the space stuff, I mean, I'm into space too. I mean, I told Carlton about it. I always give him a little hit. Hey, let's do a little talk show about aliens and about stuff like that. But Richard, you should look up Coast to Coast AM. It's a talk show. Oh, and they talk nothing but that. It's been around for like 25 years, but you'll like that.
I'm a chick.
All right.
Also, as far as anything, I mean, that's pretty much it. And trying to entertainment wise, I'm just excited for MLB. MLB just started, so I'm a big New York Yankee fan. So I'll be watching that every day. My wife hates me when it comes to baseball season, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. That's a famous saying. Great saying. All right. So what are you listening to? Bryan, start with you. What jams do you play as you go through your rhythm and your flow?
Honestly, I have my siblings, my sister and my brother are about 9 years apart from me. So, I listen to old school stuff, man. I'm listening to 90s stuff. So like I normally have that on in my truck or my car, Tupac, Biggie, that's the East Coast. I got some Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, who else? Eazy-E at times, That's normally what I listen to kind of get me on the day because, it's that hip hop, that Tupac song, I get around, I'm just like jamming out to it. So I'm just like, I'm talking about something. That's why me and Richard get along because there was one title event that happened and we showed up as trainers and then we started playing some 90s. Like me and Richard, the only ones, hey, and everybody just kept on staring at us like, what is this? And we're just, this is real music right here. What are you talking about? Right, Richard? Remember that time? We're just dancing. And I was just like, oh man, these kids. But don't get me wrong, the music now, I mean, it's good, but it's I wouldn't choose to listen to it. It's a different type of rap now. Mm-hmm. But if Jay-Z does bring out a new song or like even Kanye West, I mean, I'll listen to it. Even Drake. Who else? If Ludacris brings out something good, I'll listen to that. Eminem, that guy's a great rapper. Never want to get into battle with him, I'll tell you that. Who else? As far as the music, I will listen to that, but I do like other music. I'm from Texas, man, so I gotta listen to country, man. So I'm just like, that's what happens when you play baseball. Everybody's like, oh, my exes live in Texas, playing in the background. So I'm just like, so I got into country, but not my go-to. But I mean, I'll listen to it. I mean, electric music now. We had this trainer named Courtney that she would work the front desk, and you know who Courtney is. She'll put electric music. So me and Richard be like, jamming out to class, and just like, it's pretty good music. But other than that, I would say hip hop, like old school 90s, is my go-to as far as music.
How about you, Rich? I know from class we vibe on the hip hop when it comes through, but more specifically, what tunes
but
rhythm and flow to?
I mean, we are about the same age, so I grew up with the same music. To me, there is two styles.
Okay.
The good and the bad. That's it. No, but I grew up listening hip hop, of course. Even I was a big fan of New York hip hop, Mobb Deep, Capone and Noriega, Screwball, DJ Premier, all this like New York, but like Mobb Deep, Infamous Mob, all of that. We used to love that because where we grow up, it's similar to New York. It's a lot of towers. It's cold. We could relate it to the big parka. It's called the beanie, you know, like and like kind of like street things. You play that in your car. It makes sense over there. But LA style, all the West Coast, or Tupac, Dog Pound, all the West Coast was more for summertime,
Okay.
you know, because over there you can't wear that Chuck, you know, with the Dickies. It's cold as hell, you know. So I was New York style was talking more to us than the West Coast. But of course, there is legends in the West Coast that I used to listen, and I still listen. Like all the Chronic, the first Chronic by Dr. Dre is one of the greatest album in hip hop. Yeah, like. But also not only in the US, you know, like France at the time was the second country in the world of like people who were listening hip hop music at the time. Okay. So it always been huge in Europe. We have bands and rapper from the same era, and yeah, I grew up pretty much listening to them, to the US hip hop, but also I love metal, I love hardcore. I can listen any type of music. Music match your mood. So during the day you have different moods and different type of music to match your mood. So, you know, at the time when you were like, oh, I'm listening hip hop, and then you liked metal too, it was kind of whack. Oh, you listen to that. That's shit. I don't want to be that, you know? Mm-hmm. And it was kind of stupid because of those moods, you know? And you're not going to lie to yourself if a music playing and you like it. You know, in your heart is he liking it? Or would you be like, that's whack, you know? So there's no limitation. If it's good, it's good, you know?
I respect it for sure. All right, one more question and I'll get you gentlemen out of here. What are you reading? Start with you, Bryan.
Right now, I'm reading, this is like my second time reading it, you know, because, you know, as when you read a book, you always want to read it like 2 or 3 times because you get a different, you know, understanding of each book. I recommend it for both of you. It's called The Go-Giver. It just describes about that sometimes people misunderstand and why you want to become successful and making money in America, or just making money in general.
Sorry.
The way that wealthy stay wealthy, which this book was saying, is that you want to learn how to give as a process of you being successful. So don't look at it as you're trying to make money because, you know, to make your pockets be bigger. Do it because you're serving people. And the reason why I picked it out is because, you know, me and Richard, you know, we have a passion about training people and making sure that, yeah, don't get me wrong, we want to make sure we have money in our pockets for our family and to feed them and, you know, put food on the table. But this gives you the purpose of, when you get into a business, you're doing it to serve people. And as you get into a business to serve people, the more money you will make. So if you're just going to do something just to do it to make quick money, you won't succeed as well as when you're giving others more than what you need, which is, you know, something that this book is explaining. So it's it's not like a documentary. It explains a story about a guy being a salesperson, and he gets referred to this guy that they call him I think they call him the connector or the chairman or kind of like the jefe, but he's the one that kind of tells the story about how everybody's connected in this world, and if you are sharing your knowledge, like I said, you'll become successful by the more you serve people. So since all of us are kind of like in the same industry about that, I think this book will be perfect for you guys. It opens up your mind. You see things different after you read it, and it's been helping me out throughout my journey. And, I got other things in mind to do as far as just fitness, but it's mind changing. It's it opens up your mind as far as the name of the author is his name is Bob Berg and John David Mann. That's the name of both authors. It's called The Go-Giver, and it's called A Little Story About a Powerful Business Idea. So I would definitely buy it. It's only like $12. I mean, you guys don't like to read, you could do the audiobook on your iPhone. I think it's like 14 or like that 12 or $14, but I recommend it. I normally share that to people whenever I see them. We talk about books. I normally pass it on to people because you're supposed to do that. So, I'm all about, even Richard could tell you how the person I am. I'm the type of person that I like to help others when they need it or when they don't. Like if I go in beyond, if you tell me, hey, Brian, I'm looking for a car anywhere, you could tell me, oh, I know this person. Then you go ahead and give him a call for you. Hey, I got this buddy Carlton. He's trying to look for a Lexus, any good deals you can, and then I cross-chain it. So in this book, they call me I'm probably like the connector because I like to connect people and just try to help out others as much as I can. Well, because in the long run, as you go through life, I might I might need you at one point, but you don't want to see it that way. You don't want to say I owe you to people. You just help them out, and and that's it. You don't say like, if Richard called me and be like, hey, you know what? Remember that time that I helped you out and I gave you this and that? I mean, now's the time for you to help me out because I need this out. Like, it shouldn't be treated that way. It should be different. You should be able to help each others without even saying that. Like, hey, whenever you could help me out, you help me out. If you can, you can. Period. So that's the story along what I like about this book. So, which is cool. So it's a short book too. It's not that long. So.
All right. How about you, Richard? What you reading?
I wish I could read more, but right now I'm reading a book. It's the mindset of Cus D'Amato, the coach of Mike Tyson, and he talked about all the aspect of and the mental in boxing, and it's good for coach and trainers to approach a different aspect of boxing, because there is the sports, but the other side of it is it can be brutal. It can be you have to be prepared mentally and physically for fights, and so pretty much that's what I'm reading right now.
All right.
Papa.
Well,
Attends, Baba. Tiens, look.
perfect time.
That's my little one. And look how I teach him well or what? Look at his t-shirt.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I see. Boys in the Hood. I got a Boys in the Hood.
Boys in the Hood.
Yeah. I got
Attends, Baba, j'arrive après.
That's a classic.
Okay.
Well, that's it, gentlemen. Thank you all for your insight. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you, Carlton.
Yeah, Carlton. Thank you, Carlton. I appreciate it.
I enjoy you all in the gym. I enjoyed you all today. So thank you. And to the audience,
Same here.
this has been another episode of Conversations with Carlton, a Unsolicited Genius production. Special thank you to my guests, Bryan Ruiz and Richard Barthel. Keep checking out Unsolicited Genius. We have more shows to do, more stuff to bring you, more insight to share. You can get the live show every Monday, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central on YouTube, and then the podcast, all the places that your podcasts are found. Thank you all, and we'll catch you next time.
Listening to